So I owe y'all big time. I know I've been talking about doing these movie reviews, and I finally sat down and talk about the most recent movies I've seen. Really, I was talking about three, but really I need to include like four because I was talking about Spider-Man: Brand New Day, Disclosure Day, Evil Dead Burn, and really I need to include Leviticus as well. So I owe y'all three movie reviews, and today we're handling all three of them: Spider-Man: Brand New Day, Disclosure Day, and Evil Dead Burn. Three completely different movies, three completely different experiences, and I definitely don't feel the same way about all three. We're talking story, characters, performances, villains, runtime, box office, what worked and what didn't, whether they're actually worth your time, and I'm ranking all three at the end, so stay tuned. By the end of this video, you'll know which one I think is worth seeing in theaters, which one you can wait to stream, okay? Which movie gave us the strongest story and performances, and which one I actually watch again. And yes, we're getting into spoilers, so when necessary, I need you to click off, okay? This is spoilers up in here. So I'll give you a warning before I cross that line. Let's talk about Spider-Man: Brand New Day. I already said walking out of this theater that this was a 10 out of 10 experience for me. I had a great time, but 10 out of 10 experience doesn't mean that, I agree with every story decision or storyline. Matter of fact, there's some pretty major things that I would have done differently in this movie. Now, let's talk about the actors. First of all, we got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. Tobey Maguire will literally always be my favorite Spider-Man, like always, of all time. Now, I think Andrew Garfield is very hot, and I think Tom Holland is very modern. But when we're talking about Spider-Man, like I seen a tweet that said that Tobey Maguire will always be the best Peter Parker, and Tom Holland will always be the best Spider-Man. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of like disconnected from the franchise after Tobey Maguire wasn't announced to continue doing the Spider-Man movies. Like when Andrew Garfield got casted as doing the Spider-Man, I think I did watch it, but I didn't watch it to remember it. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So after I figured out like they were actually changing the actor, I didn't watch the movies. And then when I found out again that they was changing the actor from Andrew Garfield to Tom Holland, even though I was a fan of Tom Holland, I didn't care for it either. I wasn't finna watch it. But now seeing the accolades and everything that Spider-Man has received and how people love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, ain't nothing to it but to get with it, basically. So let's get into Spider-Man: Brand New Day. I want to break down whether this is actually delivered a fresh start from No Way Home, promised Peter Parker, and what Tom Holland is doing differently this time. Sadie Sink's role, all these extra Marvel characters and villains, MJ and Ned, and whether Marvel gave Spider-Man another great standalone movie or immediately made his story too big again. Now let's go over these characters, okay? Well, let's start with the director. The director is Destin Daniel Cretton. The writers are Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. The runtime is about 2 hours and 30 minutes. I don't know, it felt like a long ass time. Like we was in there for a long time. The rating for this movie is PG-13, so you can go take your children if you want to. It came out July 31st, 2026. This is a superhero action adventure movie. The main characters, let's talk about them, is Tom Holland. Tom Holland plays Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Zendaya, his wife, plays MJ. And let's talk about Tom Holland and Zendaya being one of the highest paid actors and actresses of 2026. I think the next woman was Anne Hathaway, because Anne Hathaway has been working her ass off. She slowly brought her way back into the movie industry really quickly. I think she did, Devil Wears Prada 2, then she did The Odyssey. Now she's doing another horror movie by the end of this year, and I think she did another movie too that's not like currently in theaters right now, but I know she did like another horror film, I want to say. Sadie Sink, she played Jean Grey, and I still don't know how I feel about that because I watched Sadie Sink so much in Stranger Things when she played the character Max, so it's definitely gonna take some adjustments or like getting accustomed to her playing this character, especially someone when I watched the old X-Men first. Like I think X-Men 97 is the new one, but I watched the old X-Men, so when I was watching the old X-Men, I expect not that the characters have to look like the animation or the comic characters, but that they still have that type of energy or like they played those type of roles before, like serious roles. And I'm so used to Sadie Sink being like a childish person or playing like a childish role. It's hard for me to convert over into seeing her play such an adult, such a serious character. Like someone that I'm not surprised about is like, I think her name is India Navette. I think she played the main character in Obsession, and now she's confirmed as someone who's playing Rogue in the new Marvel films. And so I'm like, I can see that because Obsession was such a serious role, such a more human role, more grown up a role. So I can see her playing someone more mature and grown up. Same thing as I think is Kit Connor. Kit from Heartstopper, he's playing Cyclops, and Cyclops is one of my favorite superheroes in Marvel, especially like watching X-Men. And so him coming from Heartstopper, kind of like a softer story, watching him cross over into the Marvel universe is insane as well. So watching him and Sadie, take on these new huge roles is going to take a huge adjustment for me. But I like it because Kit is already swole, so and then he's kind of short too. I imagine Cyclops to be kind of tall. I don't know, but I mean, I'm here for it. Kit and Sadie. Let's talk about Jacob Batalon. He plays Ned. John Berthnall plays Frank, aka the Punisher. Mark Ruffalo plays Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. Michael Mando plays Mark Gargan, aka Scorpion. I didn't even think his character was that important. But so what happened basically, I had seen before this movie came out because I got the AMC List Plus thing, and so I had already bought my ticket like maybe 2 months in advance, and I guess I'm glad I did because when I was looking at the tickets around the weekend that it came out, that Spider-Man Brand New Day was sold out for at least like 3 to 4 days, like in all the AMC theaters, it was sold out for at least 4 days. So I seen before this movie came out where they had like a Twitter expo where they were like, this movie is going to follow Peter Parker as some type of one of them chapters or renditions of Spider-Man in the comic book where Spider-Man becomes like a full spider and his DNA mutates, and like basically he goes on a rampage because he lost everything that he ever loved because he doesn't want to endanger his friends and family and loved ones because of villains like to weaponize that against superheroes. So they went through this chapter and analyzed and talked about it and all those kind of things. And then later on, Tom Holland came out, because I believe Tom Holland probably seen the video too. And Tom Holland was like, one of y'all theories is correct, about the movie. So that's what made me already know what the movie was kind of about. Because once I seen that Tom Holland confirmed that one of the theories was correct about the movie, I said, oh, I seen this video where they was talking about Spider-Man becoming like a whole spider, instead of just being the man, like him losing his stuff. So I'm like, oh, this theory is true. So, I guess we're starting with the consequences of No Way Home. Peter has lost MJ, Ned, Aunt May, his public identity, and essentially his whole support system. So is Peter actually living a life, or has Spider-Man become his whole identity, right? Because we're so used to Spider-Man being the local who really doesn't have a job, or he was like a pizza delivery guy, or he was a photographer that worked for the Daily Bugle. And so now in Spider-Man Brand New Day, I've seen a lot of people talking about this where it was like he's living in this empty attic or apartment where he has like this hundreds of $1,000s like technology and equipment and stuff. And it was like they never known Spider-Man to be rich, so how is Spider-Man, broke, don't have a job, but he up here with all this expensive technology and all this, craziness, right? So does Tom Holland finally feel like Spider-Man instead of Spider-Boy? I don't know. Like I said, Tobey Maguire has always been my favorite Spider-Man. So I don't know if Tom Holland. I feel like Tom Holland definitely feels like Spider-Man because of all the accolades and like he's been doing it for so long, and he's been in so many. Because he's been in the Avengers. He's been in everything. So and he said, bitch, I'm gonna work this motherfucking job until they tell me I can't work this bitch no more. And Andrew Garfield just picked up another contract for the Amazing Spider-Man 3. So I don't know how all this works and why they're using so many Spider-Mans, right? And they say Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are confirmed to at least be in 2 more Spider-Man movies. So it's like, are they doing like the Spider-Universe type thing? Is that why, the other actors keep coming into the other movie? Because I believe, what was the other way? It was the Spider-Man No Way Home, right? Well, all 3 of them was featured in the movie, right? Okay, and then you got the Spider-Man with Miles Morales and all they got going on, right? So, I think Tom Holland does feel like the official Spider-Man. I just think if you're not really locked into the story or the Spider-Man universe, then you're going to be confused a little bit, such as I am, right? Yeah. So let's move on to the story and the plot of the movie, right? Peter Parker is trying to rebuild his life while dealing with new threats, old enemies, and increasingly larger superhero problems. Did this movie need all these characters? When you're talking about Scorpion, when you're talking about Punisher, when you're talking about MJ, you talking about Aunt May, you talking about Jean Grey, you talking about who was the enemies that they was facing in this movie? You got damage control, you got mutant implications, you got future, the future Marvel universe setup, right? So I don't know if this would have been a story. So for Spider-Man Brand New Day, I don't know if it would have been a story that I would have told. Like I thought the story was pretty cool, but I just didn't understand where does this leave the Spider-Man story. Like why are we introducing Jean Grey into the Spider-Man universe? Because I think they're about to do a Avengers Doomsday, and they're about to do because even with the video games like Marvel versus Capcom, they got the Marvel Tokon game out now, and it's like I don't. I'm confused on what they're trying to do with the story, right? I don't even think we got a Spider-Man game that has Jean Grey included in it. We about to get the X-Men. I'm not X-Men, but the Wolverine game with Jean Grey inside. So I don't know. Oh, and they say Spider-Man might make an appearance inside of the movie with the video game with Wolverine. So I'm not sure. How they be doing those parallels and stuff. I'm not like a huge Marvel fan. I'm more of a DC guy, but Spider-Man is like one of my favorite heroes, a part of Marvel. Okay, so I don't know what type of story I would have told if I would have did a completely street level Spider-Man. Cause I've seen some people talking about that, like a street level Spider-Man story. Peter alone in New York, more Scorpion, no Hulk, no mutants, more MJ, Ned. I don't know. I feel like MJ and Ned was, for the plot of this movie, I felt like they had enough screen time. Just for the premise of him not wanting to be around them and like keep them safe. I thought the way that they handled that was pretty good. Sadie Sink and being John Gray. I don't know how I felt about it. I felt like her performance was really good. Now with the bangs and stuff was crazy. Now I didn't expect like a high volume. Like she's a great actress, but I didn't expect a lot from her, like from this movie, especially it being her first time playing this character. But I want to say like that moment when they was inside the lab or whatnot, when they was being possessed by damage control, not possessed, but when damage control had her locked down or whatever because of the story about her sister and how she would become stronger and all that kind of stuff. So they were trying to test her mental powers or whatever. And I also thought that when she was doing like the little shoot thing, mental thing back and forth between other people, I thought that was very interesting as well. But the whole thing about when she took control of the people's minds or whatever, I thought that was like a great way to show that Jean Grey is strong as fuck. I feel like a lot of shows and games, try to act like they downplay Jean Grey's ability, like especially not just about her being Jean Grey, but about her Phoenix powers as well. So I feel like she was a great antagonist to this movie. I feel like it was several situations where Peter could have took her down, but of course, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, he's more nicer than he is mean. So I think he did spare a lot of characters, especially her shooting back and forth. But at the same time, too, I don't think Peter should have took down those characters that she was like mind swapping with, because at the end of the day, he was following her trail. Like she was making a trail and then he was following those characters. Well, technically, she was leading him to her. So it wasn't so much about Peter, it was more about Jean, controlling the whole situation. So was Jean Grey actually more interesting than parts of Peter's story? Like I said, I feel like this whole movie was more Peter fighting with himself. I don't even think Jean Grey was such a huge part of the movie. I feel like Peter had quarrels and things that he needed to solve within himself before he wanted to go out there and solve crime. I believe he just had to solve crime and problems in between dealing with his actual life. So I think Jean Grey was pretty interesting. I think we could have did with another villain because of how passive, she was to the story. Because like we had Frank, we had Scorpion, we had like regular villains that Peter was fighting. We even had like the ninja situation that was going on. So I don't think Jean Grey was just like the pivotal focus in the moment until like she got like that major scene where she was like using her powers or whatnot, and they was gonna blow the place up, I believe. So I just want to know, who was the real antagonist throughout the whole Spider-Man Brand New Day movie? Was it Scorpion? Was it the body-hopping, mind-related threat? Was it damage control, other criminal organizations, whatever larger threat that Peter is fighting? And I want to know, did this movie have one memorable villain? Or was it just a collection of problems? That makes me talk about what I was just talking about. Was Scorpion underused? Did the villain feel personal to Peter? Was the threat intimidating? Did you understand the villain's motivation? And did you care? So I feel like Scorpion was a good addition to the movie, but I feel like Scorpion was just like how the Green Goblin was with the Tobey Maguire. No, because Green Goblin was like a main villain. But like the four-armed man or whatever, the scientist, I feel like that kind of how this movie was too, because you had the Green Goblin and the four-armed man and the Sandman in the Spider-Man movie. So I feel like it wasn't that different with Jean Grey, the Scorpion, and the ninjas being in this movie. It just felt like a lot. But also, I felt like the threat became more personal to Peter once Jean Grey got inside his mind, because she was trying to get inside his mind the whole movie, but she was failing. So at the end of the movie, she got inside his mind. She ended up talking to Aunt May and seeing the pain that Peter, because Jean Grey lost her sister. So when she learned that Peter Parker lost Aunt May, that made her feel like they were on the same playing field, for lack of better words. It felt like they had something in common. So Spider-Man does not need an Avengers level situation every time that we see him. I feel like this movie could have just simply been like the people are saying, like a street level Spider-Man, where he was just swinging through the street doing crime or whatever, delivering pizzas, working for the Daily Bugle, showing how he loved on MJ. I feel like that's the premise of what a Spider-Man movie is, and a couple villains or whatnot. But something about this movie just felt a little more commercial, maybe. But let's talk about the Punisher. Joe Bertha enters Peter Parker's world. Talk about how Frank, Castle fits, totally in the movie. I feel like he was more of like comedic relief in this movie. I don't really understand why Punisher is in this movie. I guess they're getting us ready for more of the Avengers. So I feel like that's why they're including these characters inside this universe. But if I'm just being 100, I don't know why they're in this movie. I feel like his role in this movie was pretty helpful, especially like when Peter was talking about he needs tools to be able to fix his suit or whatever, or his spider sprayer or whatever the machine is. And he ended up working with her. And I think that sets up the way that MJ finds out that Peter wrote this letter to her and they was in love before he wiped her memory and all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't know if he wiped her memory, but her memory was erased or whatnot. So I think Punisher was very much needed in this movie. Let's talk about Hulk and Bruce Banner. I feel like Hulk was really good. He whooped Peter Parker. He whooped Spider-Man ass that whole movie. I can't even lie. And that's something that I can't stand. Like when a movie has like a clear hero and a villain and the hero gets their ass mopped. That's one of my biggest issues with One Piece. Like I don't like how Luffy be getting his ass whooped for so long. We have to sit there and watch that for literally 20, 30 episodes of Luffy getting his ass whooped. And I just feel like the Hulk dog walked Spider-Man. Okay. MJ and Ned. I feel like this part was kind of emotional, but not really emotional. The moment where Peter and MJ, when Jean Grey, aka Sadie Sink, took over MJ's mind, Zendaya, and was like, "Oh, you're so easy," to convince, because you have deep love for MJ and you don't understand that I can control the people with you. And I don't know. I don't know what part was more emotional. If it was that part where they was on the rooftop or whatever, and the girl, she basically, or when Zendaya was inside the Punisher's place or whatever, and she said, "I'm sorry, I don't even have no feelings for you. The person that has feelings for you is whoever you wrote this letter for, or whoever the person you knew before." So that was really sad. And then on the rooftop, I feel like that part was really sad as well. I don't feel like Peter Parker and Ned really had a huge run-in, except towards the end of the movie where, Peter Parker was going to let everyone live their normal lives or whatever, until he was like, you know what, fuck that. Like, I'm going to go over here. This is my buddy in real life. And he went and dapped him up, and they immediately connected again. Let's talk about some of the action in the movie. The best fight, I do think that the best fight in this movie probably was, and they compared this because they were talking about the Spider-Man video game and how Tom Holland was completing some of the same stunts in the video game as in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So I do think the best fight was probably Spider-Man versus the ninjas or whatever, and he did a little twirling, web action thing. You just have to see the movie to see it. It's one of the most popular scenes in the movie, in my opinion. One of the best stunts is probably when his, wrist thing wasn't working and he was becoming an actual spider, and he was shooting at MJ told him to take him home or whatever, and they were swinging through the city. I feel like that was one of the best stunts to me, and the best swinging sequence. Let's talk about the visuals. I thought the visuals were really good, and they said most of the stunts were really real. And Tom Holland talked about a lot in most of his interviews where he's talking about he was down in a lower lunge for the most of the movie, and he talked about the suit and how this time you could actually take the helmet off and it wasn't just like a onesie or whatnot. So I think the visuals were really good, especially the action scenes and how they shot the most important scene where he shot up and webbed all the ninjas together. This movie was 2 hours and 30 minutes. It has a runtime of 2 hours and 25 minutes. And I don't think that the movie should have been that long. I feel like the movie was only that long because they had so many ties that they need to finish up, or so many characters and stuff that they had outside that they need to answer, questions they need to answer for the plot of the movie, that it took that long. But if I feel like if it was one main villain and one main plot line, storyline, then let's just talk about Peter Parker and Jean Grey. If the movie was just about Peter Parker, MJ, Ned, and Jean Grey, then I feel like the movie would have been a hell of a lot, shorter. In the box office, I think they said, I forgot how much they said Tom Holland made. He didn't made so much fucking money for this movie. They didn't say, I think the initial he was getting paid $20 million, and I think he's getting like $100 million bonus. Let me see. Yeah, so the box office is grossed over 2.039 billion globally, and it's the fastest film in history to cross 800 million in 19 days. Okay, first Spider-Man movie to surpass 2 billion mark worldwide. Crazy. Now let's wrap this up. Okay, so best performance, Tom Holland I feel like gave one of his best performances. The best character I feel like in Spider-Man Brand New Day, I don't know, maybe it was, I don't know. I really did like the character. Was it supposed to be Black Widow, who was inside the pool in the beginning? I don't know. I really did like Jean Grey though. So let's just go with Jean Grey for the best character. Best action sequence was probably when he was swinging back and forth with MJ after he found out that she had no feelings for him after she read the note. The biggest surprise was probably Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey. Biggest disappointment was probably how long the movie was. 2 hours and 30 minutes was crazy. Character who needed more time. Probably MJ and Ned. I feel like we could have seen more of them together. More like Peter trying to build a relationship with them, but I guess that would defeat the purpose. But I think more if we would have got in the end, like if Peter was going to go talk to Ned and build a relationship with him, I think that he should have went ahead and tried to build a relationship with MJ, and we should have seen a little bit more of that. One thing that I completely changed, I probably completely changed the villain of this movie, or the reasoning on why Jean Grey, I guess, was going against damage control. Did it need to be 2 hours and 25 minutes? No. Better than No Way Home? I didn't even watch No Way Home. Where it ranks in Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies, I guess it would be a 10. I didn't really watch Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. I'm sorry. I'm more of a Tobey Maguire. I watched a little bit of Andre Garfield. I'm a huge Spider-Man cartoon fan. So I didn't really watch like the actual movies. And I watched what's the Miles Morales branch off. I tuned more into those movies. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I think for a Spider-Man movie it was 10 out of 10. Those are just some of the things that I would have changed. But even with the story decisions I would have handled differently in Spider-Man Brand New Day, this gave me exactly what I wanted from the theater experience. Tom Holland feels older, the action delivers. Sadie Sink definitely got my attention as Jean Grey. And there's enough here to make me more excited about what Peter does next, right? Like I said, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are confirmed to be in at least 2 more Spider-Man movies. Andrew Garfield has signed on for Amazing Spider-Man 3. Okay, my biggest concern is whether Marvel can let Spider-Man actually be Spider-Man without immediately turning every adventure into a setup for 5 other projects. But overall, I had a great time and I loved, going to go see it, especially, being an AMC Plus movie. Let's talk about Disclosure Day. This is one movie that I was very excited about. I should have been talking to y'all about this months ago. This is a long before. I think I seen Obsession, then I seen Backrooms, then Obsession. I feel like I seen Disclosure Day and Leviticus, Scary Movie, and in Scary Movie 6 that I seen around the same time. And then I seen Evil Dead Burn, and then Spider-Man. Okay, so let's talk about Disclosure Day, right? This is where things get interesting because Steven Spielberg essentially helped define how Hollywood depicts extraterrestrials. So this question isn't just whether this is a good, alien movie. This question is, can Spielberg still make aliens feel mysterious after Hollywood has spent decades copying Spielberg, okay? So we're getting into Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, The Government Conspiracy, whether the villain actually has a point, and what aliens represent, whether humanity deserves to know the truth or whether this movie earns that 2 hour and 25 minute runtime. And I feel like I wouldn't have seen this movie at like 11 p.m. at night. I promise I didn't get home till maybe like 1:30 in the morning. And I had to think about it to see if this movie was actually worth like sitting down and watching it. I feel like a part of it I did go to sleep like closer to the end because it started feeling like a knockoff Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And I don't think it has nothing to do with that plot line. Like the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it has nothing to do with that. I feel like after like they wanted the two main characters to link up, I feel like that should have happened way earlier in the movie, especially because it's a plot twist. They not even telling you at first that it's like alien intelligence stuff going on. But before we can go ahead and get into all that, let's talk about all the logistics. The director is Steven Spielberg. The writer is David Coep. Runtime is approximately 2 hours and 25 minutes, although it felt like way longer than that. It's PG-13. The genre is science fiction, mystery, thriller, and drama. The major characters are Emily Blunt, Margaret Fairchild. So Emily Blunt plays Margaret Fairchild. She's this person. She basically knows how to talk to the aliens. She speaks the aliens' language. When the movie opens up, she's like doing like not this forecast, but she's like on this news report thing. She's like a news anchor. And so they're like doing her makeup or whatever, and she's like rushing or whatever, and so she gets on the stage. I can't remember. They're like warning her about something, and so when she gets on the stage and she looks into the camera, she like stutters. And in the moment that she stutters, she starts speaking like this crazy language, and she starts clicking her tongue like, all that type of shit, speaking the alien language. It was pretty good. Josh O'Connor, who plays Dr. Daniel Kellner, cybersecurity expert, whistleblower with evidence concerning extraterrestrial life. Colin Firth plays Noah Scanlon, major human antagonist tied to suppressing disclosure. I believe that was like the old man who wanted to do everything to keep the secret from getting out that aliens are real. Let's talk about Eve Hewson, who plays Jane Blakeship, Daniel's girlfriend, and Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo had an excellent year from the Michael Jackson movie to Disclosure Day. He did another movie, I can't think what the name of it, but he killed all of them. Okay, he's connected to those attempting to expose the truth. He's Hugo Wakefield. Okay. What's this movie really about, right? Okay, so the movie is about aliens exist and basically how we would communicate with them and like navigate this planet together. Okay, so who owns the truth? Daniel believes that humanity deserves to know the truth about aliens and our relationships with them and how we've been, treating them or whatever. Even because I believe he got messages from the aliens, and that was a part of the movie too. Humanity deserves to know, that aliens exist. The opposing side believes some information could destabilize civilization. Like, how would could humans actually accept that it's extraterrestrials on this planet, and how would we coexist with them, right? Okay, so I have a question. If extraterrestrials actually existed, should the government be required to tell us, or should we be left in the dark? What if disclosure caused mass panic, religious crisis, market collapse, political instability, war? Would secrecy ever be justified? So I'm torn because I feel like at the same time, I know that me personally, probably could handle if they told us that aliens were real, because I already feel like it's higher level beings on planet Earth that we just don't know about. Because of so many unexplained things. Like, people love to talk about how the pyramids were built, UFO sightings, the formations of crops or whatnot. So a lot of people already believe that aliens are here. But I do believe, like, how it says religious crisis, market collapse, political instability, war. Religious crisis, number one, because a lot of people only see their religion as one way. They can't open their minds to being something else. And some people are like for Americans, so many people are trapped in the American dream that, like, if something majorly came through and changed their whole thought process or like what they believe life to be, some people can't handle that and they would lose their fucking mind. Let's talk about Margaret Fairchild, right? Did she emotionally ground the movie? Was she relatable? Was Emily Blunt convincing? Did you understand what was happening to Margaret? Did she feel like the protagonist? Or did the Daniel character feel more important? I feel like they felt equally important because they're two peas in one pot. You can't have one without the other. And that's literally what the movie was saying. Like, one of them could speak their language and one of them could read their writing. The one was a mathematician and the other one was like a news anchor who was just gifted, who could literally, if she touched you, she knew your whole life. It reminded me of a Rick and Morty episode. Yeah, so it literally feels like a Rick and Morty episode. I feel like Daniel part was important too. But yeah, I just feel like they're both equally important because you can't have one without the other. And really, we can talk about Dominic. What was Dominic Coleman Domingo's character? Hugo. We can talk about Hugo Wakefield part with him being the actual third part as well. Because I believe in the movie they were saying like. That Hugo had some type of powers or some type of encounter too, to where he knew how to bring these two individuals together to be able to, have the alien. So it was really like all three of them being able to bring this movie together to me. So the whistleblower, Daniel Kellner, okay, was he a hero or was he reckless? He believes the information belongs to humanity. It sounds heroic, but should one person get to decide whether billions of people learn something that is civilian changing or civilization changing, right? And I do think that the choice should be up to the people. I don't know how. Because at the point that the government or the people that's put in position to handle those type of things, at the point that they can't handle it anymore, like, what do they get out of that once the situation is out of control? So I understand why Daniel wants disclosure, but I don't know whether or not, we should trust him to make the decision for everybody. And especially like how his girlfriend got hacked too, because they have like this specific like weapon thing where you can hack into people's mind. Like, I can't remember if they actually needed something from the person. Yeah, I think they did get something from the person, and then they had hooked themselves up to this machine with this alien technology, and you could possess this person's body. So, I thought it was pretty good. Let's talk about Noah Scanlon. I believe this is the old man. The antagonist of the movie, in my opinion. Do you feel like do you feel like Noah Scanlon was evil, or does he genuinely believe that secrecy protects society? Does Colin Firth sell the threat? Was his motivation understandable? And did he have a point? I feel like, the villain might be wrong, about what he's willing to do or go through in order to keep this secret a secret. But I don't think he's completely wrong about humanity being unprepared for it. And I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you feel like humanity would be able to accept that aliens are real? Not and not like take yourself out of it. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to take myself out of it and look at it from like a general public standpoint. And be like, would people be able to handle like aliens being real? People can't even handle Cardi B and motherfucking Lotto going viral for saying that Cardi B saying that Lotto is you a pussy ass Lotto. So I don't know if the world will be able to handle that. And let's just really talk about the topic of the movie and the plot twist of the movie, the aliens, right? And I feel like moviegoers absolutely wanted this plot or like an alien movie, right? Did you like their design? Did you like the way that the aliens look? I definitely thought the aliens were very I thought it was cool, but the last time that I seen aliens was probably Aliens versus Predator. But honestly, probably from Jordan Peele's movie. What was the movie called? I can't think what the movie was called with Jordan Peele that he did with Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya, right? Damn, what was it called? Anyway, it was a movie about a UFO as well. And I feel like in the movie they showed the aliens to be like really tiny, and in this movie, towards the end of the movie, they showed the aliens to be it was like a different variation of aliens, because during the war or whatever, like different clips that they were showing, like when they was disclosing out about the aliens or whatever, it would show like small aliens, it showed like medium-sized aliens, and then at the end when they brought out the main alien or whatever who wanted to talk, that alien was really large. So I feel like I like their design, basically, is what I'm saying. Did Spielberg make Aliens feel special again? Like, would y'all go out and see another Alien versus Predator, another Aliens movie, or just another movie about aliens in general? I just want to know first, if you've seen the movie, did the mystery hook you? Did you figure out things early about the plot twist? Did you already know the movie was about aliens? I feel like I didn't know the movie was about aliens till maybe like an hour and 30 minutes in. Were there enough reveals? Did the movie answer too much? Not enough. Or did you like the final explanation? I feel like that final explanation was really good. Like how, Emily was like going around reading people's lives and she could just do whatever she wanted to do. And like, she wasn't doing things to the detriment of people. I just feel like it was just really good how when she finally made that main antagonist sit down, because she was answering questions about, it was his wife that he missed or whatever. So when he read stuff about his wife, he couldn't do nothing but sit back and allow her to do whatever she needed to do because she was solving issues in his life that he didn't really know that he needed to face or whatever. Like it was one scene where somebody who she didn't read or she didn't come in contact with, he had told him, he was like, cut the power, or he was like, add power so she'd be able to broadcast this message. And he was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, she knows my wife. She knows this, so give her everything that she needs. And they were looking at him like, what are you talking about? Why would you want to do that? So I feel like the final explanation and stuff was really good. I feel like the way that they wrote out the movie was really good. I just feel like certain stuff they was trying to show, like on Daniel's side, because they show really good progress or whatever on Emily character's side, right? So when they were showing like Daniel's girlfriend and him escaping and all that kind of stuff, like I felt like that was good for a movie, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like some of those scenes and stuff could have been chopped out. Like we didn't need to see all that. I do feel like what I was just talking about, like the thriller elements, like the government pursuit of Daniel when they was inside that little cottage, and then when they was at the hotel. I feel like all that was really good. Like the chases, the alien phenomena, and especially the part where he gets in the car with homegirl, and they're like driving, and he's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, she's like, "I don't know, but I know." You know what I'm saying? Oh, and I didn't like homegirl's Emily's character. I did not like her boyfriend. He was a fucking snitch and alone. He did not trust her. You know, after she had proved over and over again that she was worth being trustworthy, and then he sent her into the hospital. Like that shit kind of pissed me off because it's like if my partner has proved to me that they know what they're talking about, even through the craziest shit, like I don't know. I would have tried to help her the best way I could until she can get the fuck out of my space. You know what I'm saying? Because after she was like, "Oh, the doctors are not trying to help me in this hospital; they're actually trying to kill me." And then, actually, after we got to the hospital or whatever, and she said, "I want to drive," bitch, I would let her drive. I would have went home. You can call me a little bit later because you acting weird as fuck. Like if his concern was so much about her or whatever, I would have told her just call me later because you being weird as fuck. Like if he was doing all that and she was gonna leave him anyway, I just feel like that would have been safer for him, right? So let's talk about some of the deeper things, philosophical things of this movie. You got truth versus security. You got government transparency. You got humanity's arrogance. You have the fear of the unknown. Okay, you have religion, science, control of information, and who gets to decide what humanity is ready to know. Okay, so this is a 145-minute runtime, same as Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I don't understand why everyone thinks that we need to be inside the movies for 2 hours and 30 minutes now at this point. Maybe because tickets are $30, depending on if you're going to go see an IMAX or you're going to go see in 3D or a different type of, or if it got a bar or if it got recliner seats. It all depends about. It's so many logistics where going to having a good time at movies, right? And it's not so much about if Steven Spielberg earned it. You know, was you cut part of the movie? Was the slow pacing necessary, or did the suspense justify? I don't think that has anything to do with just the runtime. You know, I think they just want to keep us in the movie theater to keep spending money. Go back and go get you some popcorn. Go get you a motherfucking Slurpee. Go get you some candy. Go get you a drink or whatever and come back and enjoy yourself. Go get you another bucket of popcorn. Okay? Has Hollywood trained audiences to only rush to the theaters for established IP? Steven Spielberg original sci-fi movie competing with superhero sequels and franchises give you a great industry conversation. Again, update final totals when publishing. Okay? I feel like a lot of people were talking about the pacing, talking about Spielberg nostalgia and his books, the lack of action, which I don't agree with. I feel like the movie was pretty much full of action, marketing expectations, and I think a lot of people wanted an alien invasion instead of just what we got. And I thought this movie was really good. It wasn't generic. And like I said, it had the plot span at the end. But yeah, let's talk about the best performance. I feel like the best performance was definitely about Emily. Her character, like her monologues and everything, like she kept me intrigued the whole movie. Like every time she would talk to a character and she would just start talking about their past and talking about things that they were going through and they would just bend to her will. I just felt like that was amazing. I felt like Hugo was my favorite character. The best alien moment was at the end of the movie. The best scene was probably when they was inside the house and it was Daniel, Emily character, and Comen Domingo's character where they were like reminiscing about them being abducted as children. I felt like that was really good. Where the animals entered their room when they was inside that fake house. It was really good. Or it could be like the scene where the fire truck was like invisible, whatever they made like the whole room invisible or whatever, so like the government or whoever could see them. I feel like the biggest what the fuck moment was probably when Emily's character, what's her name? What is her character's name? Margaret. So I feel like when Margaret was inside the car and her boyfriend went inside the gas station store or whatever to grab some things or whatever they were supposed to be doing in that scene. And when he was going inside the store, he basically was like, he was like, my girlfriend is going crazy. Can you call the police? Can you call someone to come pick her up? Because I don't know whatever she's going through. And Margaret looked out the window and seen a child in the next car. And she was like, can I pay you or can I give you some candy or something to tell the man when he come outside that the lady has left? And when the man came and when her boyfriend came back outside and the child looked outside the window or whatever, he was like, oh yeah, she's gone. She didn't left. I feel like that was the best scene or the biggest what the fuck moment because it's like, why are you in the store after y'all just left the hospital and she proved to you that these people are looking for her, that you were still in the hospital? I mean, that you're still going into these stores talking about your girlfriend is crazy. I just felt like that was the biggest what the fuck moment. The most interesting idea, I feel like the whole movie was the most interesting idea that you put three people together to be able to tell the whole world about, aliens and their ability to want to communicate with us. I thought it was really good. I feel like the ending worked. Did the movie need to be 2 hours and 25 minutes? No. Do I think the movie could have been 2 hours? Yeah. I feel like it was just a couple scenes they could have erased. Would I watch it again? Most definitely. Theater or streaming for sure. I don't know. I'm not like one of those type of people that want to sit in the movie theaters for 2 hours and 30 minutes. Like watching Avatar or like or Transformers. Like it's a long fucking time to be sitting in the theater. 4 hours is crazy. The only person I'm sitting in the movie theater to watch for 4 hours is probably Beyonce. If this is your kind of sci-fi, I got more movie reviews and pop culture conversations throughout the channel, and I want you to especially go out and go see this movie, right? And let me know whether you like this movie or not. If the government had proof of extraterrestrial life tonight, would you actually want them to tell us? So I'm pretty sure they have proof, but would you want us to tell us tonight? If whenever you're watching this, could you handle it if the news came on tonight and was like, aliens are real, they always been real? For me, Disclosure Day ultimately works or it doesn't work based on whether you buy into the questions, it's asking about extraterrestrial life. This isn't just a look at aliens, it's asking whether humanity deserves every truth simply because that the truth exists. That's what I'm probably going to remember longer than any individual action sequence of this movie, honestly. And so now we're talking about superheroes and extraterrestrial life. Time to go somewhere considerably nastier because these deadites apparently still haven't learned how to leave families alone, right? Let's talk about Evil Dead Burn. Okay, Evil Dead Burn, and baby, how many families are going to have to get absolutely destroyed before somebody realizes you leave mysterious demonic objects where you found them? So I believe in this movie, the main character's father was like a person who like was obsessed with like demonic like entities or like possessions or like it's like this book, right? And it's like the book of evil or whatever, and you can't like whatever if you read this book and recite it, whatever, it's supposed to like come true and all this kind of stuff, or it's supposed to like manifest into your life, right? So the family like locked the books and stuff up in the attic, and it's supposed to be like not talked about, and it's supposed to actually they supposed to throw it away. I believe the main character, the mom, was like they were supposed to throw those materials away because either the dad died or the dad was like in a crazy house or something like that. But I must say, like, for this movie, I was disappointed. Like, I definitely like Evil Dead. What was it? I believe it was just the second Evil Dead. Evil Dead. You got Evil Dead Burn, and you had Evil Dead. What was the second Evil Dead called? Evil Dead franchise. Evil Dead Rise was the one that I liked. And I liked the title card. And I was looking forward to the title card in Evil Dead Burn. And it did not deliver to me. So we're breaking down the new characters, whether Alice deserves to join the franchise, the great final girls, the Deadites, kills, gore, practical effects, scares, mythology, and the biggest question, is Evil Dead still innovating? Or are we basically showing up to watch each sequel to try to figure out how to out-gore the last movie, right? So let's talk about it. Director Sebastian Vincent, writer Sebastian Vincent and Florent Bernard. So that's the director is Sebastian, the writer is Sebastian and Florent. The producers are Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert. It's approximately 2 hours long. It's rated R, and the genre is horror, supernatural, gore. Main characters are Suchila Yokub, that's Alice. She's the main protagonist. Tandy Wright, who plays Susan. Hunter Duhan, who plays Joseph. Basically, these are all the family characters, right? So let's just talk about it. The movie, the plot, the setup. Alice is giving her husband. Alice is grieving her husband and reconnects with his family. Unfortunately, this is an Evil Dead movie, basically, right? A demonic connection begins tearing the family apart, and there's also family history connected to the dagger capable of destroying Deadass, right? So my question to you is, did the mythology actually interest you, or were you just waiting for everybody to be possessed? I feel like when people go into a possession movie, excuse me, they want to see a possession and they want to see an exorcism, right? At least that's what I want to see when I'm thinking about an entity movie. I want to see an exorcism, and I want to see the fucking entity motherfucking stirring around. So Alice, this is her movie, right? So does Suhila Yoko carry it? Did you care about Alice? Was her grieving convincing? Was she resourceful? And did she earn the final girl status, right? I don't know if Alice would have survived Evil Dead, 2013, one of the originals. And I don't know, she may have survived Evil Dead Rise. But I think one of the most important components of this movie is the family, right? Because the Deadite violence works so much better, if we care about the human beings first. So that's why they explain the story and show the love of the family and built like the characters. So I asked in this movie, who did you actually care about? Who felt underdeveloped? Whose death / possession hurt? And who existed purely to die? So I feel like I had a soft spot for the grandma, but I expected because old people already become main victims when we talking about possessions or movies that have possessions in them, right? So I actually cared for the grandma, but what I actually ended up caring for in the end was probably the mother. She was just very sad. And when they let the father back in after being possessed or whatever, and he came back in after kissing her all in her mouth, after bleeding and all that kind of stuff, that shit was so fucking nasty. I felt so sorry for her. But I thought it was pretty good. So basically, I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. I feel like, because I believe all the Evil Dead franchise of films are individual films, right? They don't correlate with each other, right? They're just all individual moments. So, I don't feel like I have any discrepancies really with the movie besides the title card not being better than Evil Dead Rise. And the fact of some of the decisions that they were making in the movie, for the mom to let the dad back in was crazy. For her not to kill the dad was crazy. And I think the grandma had some funny lines in this movie, especially the part about when she got put into the chair or whatever, and the chair was going up and down the steps. That was really good and funny. The scariest dead I probably had to be the little girl, I believe, or the father. Other than that, I didn't really find any deadites to be really scary. Yeah. If we talking about gore, I don't know. I feel like Evil Dead Rise was kind of more gory than Evil Dead Burn. So I just have a question: is Evil Dead, trying too hard to outdo itself? And I don't feel like Evil Dead is trying too hard to outdo itself because I don't honestly feel like they knew that this movie was going to do better than Evil Dead Rise. I feel like Evil Dead Rise was a step above the next, and I feel like this movie was just for fun, not for fun, but it was just more of expanding, the franchise and showing different situations that this story could take on this family basically. And I know it was a family inside the last movie, but the last movie was more of a single mother, right? But if we're talking about horror versus comedy, do you think that, because I feel like horror is going to have blood, gore, it's going to have sex, and it's going to have good music and jump scares. So, and comedy. So I feel like did Evil Dead Burn have enough comedy? Was it too little comedy? I feel like they had their little moments and they gave the grandma a funny scene or whatever. Like I said, they were talking about when they strapped her in, they go up and down the steps. I thought that was pretty funny. And she did have a funny line too. where it was like I told you so moment or something like that. Like the situation where the grandma was in the bed or whatever, and I believe one of the characters when they're talking to her or whatever, she was in the bed basically, and then like with her head up under the cover, right? And so when the character got up or whatever to see what was going on, or no, I think because she was telling her everything was gonna be okay, and so she stood up in the bed or whatever with the sheet over her head. I thought that situation was so funny. I don't know, maybe it was just funny to me. But I think this movie was kind of dark and disturbing, and such as all the Evil Dead movies are. I don't think they're trying to be pleasant. Um, every great horror movie needs something that people remember. So what was one of the scenes that you definitely remember besides some of the ones that I listed? Um, I definitely think the scene that probably I remember the most is probably the mom letting the dad in from outside, especially after they had killed the dog or whatever. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, it's no amount of love. And especially when you know that everyone inside the house and around you is being possessed, and then you turn around and still let this man inside the house. I feel like that scene I will never forget in the whole movie. And the scene where the girl, she gets up and she crawls on the ceiling and whatnot. So I feel like gory doesn't equal scary. I feel like a lot of people just have a thing with like blood or whatever, and they can't like see bloody things. So I just want to give the gore probably like a 7. Was this movie scary? Probably like a 6, because I'm like a real scary movie goer. Tension was a 10. Story was a 3. Characters were 9. Deadites were a 9. Excuse me. Practical effects and makeup all was a 10. I loved everything about it. You can tell. Could you tell practical versus CGI? No, I feel like it was really good, and I feel like the movie wasn't too dark that you can't like see certain things because a lot of people. Well, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, but a lot of movies like shade down or like make stuff really dark, so you can't tell that it's like engine created or like CGI basically. I definitely think this movie was worth being 2 hours. I think it was energy packed and like action packed from the beginning to the end. I thought it was really good. Out of Spider-Man, Disclosure Day, and Evil Dead, which one did I feel like utilized the time the best? I feel like Disclosure Day definitely used the time the best. Or I feel like that kept my attention the longest probably was Disclosure Day, even if I went to sleep. Like Spider-Man kept my attention too, but it was like, it's a Spider-Man movie, you know what I'm saying? So the plot wasn't that engaging to me. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had to choose between Spider-Man, Disclosure Day, and Evil Dead, I probably would watch Disclosure Day again. Because the plot, and I just love aliens as well too. So let's talk about box office. Horror doesn't need Spider-Man money to succeed. Why is horror consistently one of Hollywood's safest theatrical investments? It's because it has smaller budgets, built-in audiences, word of mouth, date night appeal, and people want communal reactions, like to watch movies together. And I feel like that's a lost art, is people enjoying movies together inside the theater. So where should Evil Dead go next, right? Do you want Alice returning? Do you want Mia returning? Beth? Ash? Do you want multiple survivors meeting? Another unrelated family, different country, different time period, more lore, less lore? Like, what would you want to see in the next Evil Dead movie, right? So I think Evil Dead works the best, with a new group of unfortunate people who touched something they should have left the fuck alone. And let's just be honest. And I feel like that's most movies, right? Most Evil Dead movies, right? Or just like horror movies in general. But if I had to talk about the best character, probably was the grandma, best performance. Probably was Alice, best deadite, probably was the father. The best kill probably was the dog. I'm not even gonna lie. Final rating, I probably give Evil Dead Burn probably like a 7. Cause like Evil Dead Rise is a 10 to me. If horror is what brought you here, I've got more reviews coming, and I definitely want horror recommendations because I clearly enjoy them, right? And I enjoy voluntarily stressing myself out. I feel like I run to the theater. Like, I'm about to go see Insidious next. And I believe Insidious comes out at the end of August, so I'm definitely going to go see that, right? So Evil Dead Burn understands the assignment when it comes to chaos, gore, and making me question why anybody in horror movies ever picks up mysterious objects. Whether it ranks among the franchise's best is a different question. But I definitely know which scenes I'm not getting out of my head anytime soon, right? So, 3 movies, no more hiding. It's time to decide who actually won. I think number 1 is Disclosure Day. I think number 2 is Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I think number 3 is definitely Evil Dead Burn. I think Disclosure Day probably had the best story. Spider-Man Brand New Day had the best performance. Evil Dead Burn had the best ensemble. Spider-Man Brand New Day had the best villain. Disclosure Day had the best visuals, and Evil Dead Burn had the best action. Okay? Best horror is obviously Evil Dead. Unless Spider-Man, you think when he changed his, whole part, his eyes went black or whatever, if you think that was scary. My biggest surprise is probably definitely Disclosure Day because of the aliens or whatnot. Being at the end when they finally brought the alien was like very tall and wanted to have a communication with humans. I think that was kind of very crazy. My biggest disappointment was probably Sadie Sink revealing herself to be Jean Grey. Most rewatchable was probably Disclosure Day because I just love aliens and I feel like it was really good. Best theater experience was Evil Dead Burn because people love to talk during horror movies, or like if they're scared they love to close their eyes, or like they might jump, into jump. I feel like when I'm watching scary movies and somebody jump next to me, I feel like that's the most funniest thing, especially if I didn't jump as well. Because we all like laughing, and I'm going to laugh too. Like, if you jump, I'm going to laugh. Best use of runtime is probably Evil Dead Burn. That was just 2 hours. The other movies were like 2 hours and 30 minutes, like on average. The one that I watch again tonight, just because it's tonight, I probably would watch Spider-Man or like Disclosure Day. Like, if I want to go to sleep, I'm going to watch Disclosure Day. Like... No, that just defeated the whole purpose of me talking about everything. Like, I feel like, because the movie is so long, you get what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, if you want to think and you actually want to be engaged the whole time, then I will watch it. But, like, I'm not saying Spider-Man is brain rot. It's just, Spider-Man is like, if your kid wants to watch it or whatever, and they looking for constant action or whatever, like, I could go to sleep during any movie. I'm just saying, like, if I had to choose, I probably would watch Disclosure Day again tonight. Even though I would go to sleep. The one that I would recommend to most people, I probably would recommend Disclosure Day to you. I'm not even gonna lie. Probably Disclosure Day is really good to me, but like for the hype of everyone or whatever, I would recommend Spider-Man. I feel like they all their own genres. You get what I'm saying? One is action and adventure, one is horror, and one is like psycho thriller or whatever. So yeah, I feel like I would recommend all 3 of the movies to you, depending on your taste. So if you came here specifically for one movie, each one of these reviews is getting more content throughout the channel. I'm pulling out individual conversations, shorts, character discussions, and movie breakdowns. So subscribe and check the movie review playlist because we're not stopping here, okay? Because we still got to talk about Leviticus. Should I just talk about Leviticus now or save it for another day? I feel like I can give it to you on Friday. If y'all like this video and y'all support this video, I'll give it to y'all on Friday. So if you're caught up on the movies, if you're caught up on these movies and late night pop culture, that's where we're talking about everything else happening in entertainment every week. I just had to deliver on this promise on talking about movies. So those are 3 movies I owed y'all: Spider-Man Brand New Day, Disclosure Day, and Evil Dead Burn. So make sure to like this video so I know that we want to talk about Leviticus, because I really love Leviticus. It's a great story, and I feel like it has a huge meaning, that a lot of people don't talk about. 3 completely different movies asking for your time and money in completely different ways. Now I want your ranking, okay? If you had to choose only one tonight, which one are you choosing, okay? And if you already seen all 3, such as myself, tell me where I'm completely wrong, because I know y'all got some ideas, and I know everyone has a think piece about these movies. Like the video if you enjoy these reviews. Like this video if you enjoy these reviews. I know sometimes my tongue I be talking so fast. If you enjoyed this review, subscribe for more movie, music, and pop culture conversations, and I'll see you in the next one, right? That's all I really have for now. If you got anything else, let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like this video, hype this video, subscribe, share this video with your mom, dad, your uncle, auntie. Make sure you like this video so I know to go ahead and put Leviticus out if I don't If y'all don't like this video, it ain't probably gonna come out. It probably ain't gonna come out Friday. It's probably gonna come out like next Wednesday. But yeah, thank you for being here. If you watch this full video, thank you for being here. I really don't have nothing else to say. Yeah, like this video, turn your post notifications on so you can be notified every time that I post a video. You can be notified. Nobody told you all year, all month, all week, all day. I love you. That's all I have for this one. Go see them 3 movies: Spider-Man: Brand New Day, Leviticus,